Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Bernardo Silva, Kounde, and Lewandowski. There has been a lot of hype regarding these three players because I know that many Barcelona fans are very excited that Barcelona are finally able to sign certain players that will improve this squad for sure. And so because you guys have been asking about these three players and how these three players will be fitting within the starting 11, I do want to answer this for you guys. And so yes, we are going to be discussing that. We are going to be discussing just exactly how these three players can fit within the 11. So moving forward from there, let's talk about the formation, because I do think that Xavi Hernandez is going to continue to use the 4-3-3 formation but have two different lineups. And so let's talk about that, right? Because I do believe that Barcelona's first starting 11 and the first choice coming from Xavi Hernandez, it is going to be Ter Stegen in goal, our defensive line being Jordi Alba, Ronald Araujo, and Kounde, with Serginho Dest, and our midfield being Busquets, Xavi, and Pedri, and our front three being Rafinha on the right, Lewandowski as the striker, and Ansu Fati as the left winger. Now keep in mind, this is going to be the plan A. I do think that Xavi Hernandez will rely on Pedri and Xavi, yes, over Bernardo Silva, and I do believe that Kounde will have that starting spot right next to Ronald Araujo. And then moving on towards plan B, on what we could see next season, it could be a defensive line that does consist of Alba, Araujo, Kounde, and Dest, but our midfield being Bernardo Silva, Busquets, and Pedri. That is basically the only difference. The only difference between these two lineups, it is Bernardo Silva starting, yes or no. Now I do want to speak about two key duos within a starting 11 like this when it comes to option number one, which I believe again Xavi Hernandez is going to want to use, because I do think that if we form these two duos that I am going to be talking about and we form them extremely well, like they understand each other, they have chemistry, Barcelona is going to highly benefit from that, and Xavi is going to be adding a lot of emphasis on these two duos. So let's talk about duo number one within option one, Kounde and Ronald Araujo. If Barcelona want to be UCL contenders, Barcelona have to have a great center back pairing, and that center back pairing could be these two players. Barcelona have always won the Champions League every time they had a great defense, because if we talk about the 2015 Barcelona, I remember back in that 2015 Barcelona, we had a great center back pairing of Piqué and Mascherano. At one point, they were only conceding 2 goals every 4 games, which was outstanding. And then we talk about the 2011 Barcelona, we saw the exact same center back pairing, which was Mascherano and Gerard Piqué. And I want us to notice one thing very clear when it comes to these two teams in the 2015 and the 2011 Barcelona. Notice the consistency Barcelona had within that defensive line. They had one center back that was great on the ball, and in this case Gerard Piqué, and they had that warrior right next to Gerard Piqué, which was Mascherano. Forming Kounde and Araujo very well and having that chemistry would almost replicate the exact same thing. Like why do you think the center back pairing of Araujo and Piqué worked so well last season? It is because Piqué was probably like, this player here, Araujo, he really does remind me of Mascherano. He is the one that likes to do the dirty work. He's the one that gets the ball back extremely quick and gets the ball back to me, and then from there I can form that starting play. So once Xavi can get these two players, Kounde and Araujo, to understand each other, Barcelona can go so far. And the great thing from all of this is that this center back duo that we could have next season, it's going to be way younger than what we had with Piqué and Mascherano, or maybe even Piqué and Puyol. They're going to be here for at the very least 8 years. And also Kounde is someone who's again very great on the ball. Araujo is the one that will be doing the dirty work. Kounde would be that supplier on that right side, feeding those balls to someone like Serginho Dest. So it is going to be something so great to see. And then we move on to the last duo that I believe is going to be very important to form. Once we have these three players in to this squad, it is going to be the duo between Lewandowski and Ansu Fati. I do think that Lewandowski and Ansu have so many goals within them, and to be very honest, if we talk about instinct, right, when we just talk about the instinct for goal, Ansu Fati is almost exactly like Lewandowski. Like, how many times has Ansu Fati returned from injury and just score immediately within a span of 5 minutes? And then we look at these stats here, right, and I'm not comparing Ansu Fati's level to Lewandowski, I'm just talking about just the instinct for goal and the conversion rate. We look at the goals per 90 minutes, Ansu Fati is almost in the exact same number of Lewandowski. We look at the goal conversion rate and the percentage, it is again the exact same thing. And then we look at the non-penalty goals per 90, they have the exact same number, my friends. Ansu Fati, in terms of conversion rate, right, In other words, how good can they make those minutes count for them? Ansu Fati is very, very close to Lewandowski. And so if we can see something very close, right, in terms of stats, right, not in terms of the playing style, but if we can see something between Lewandowski and Ansu, like what we saw between Neymar and Lionel Messi, that would be great. And again, I'm not comparing these players. What I'm doing here is basically saying that they need to be effective because Barcelona is going to be benefiting from something like this. I don't even think that even if Lewandowski and Ansu Fati hit their primes, within that 11, they'll reach the level of Neymar and Messi. That's just a completely different world. But even reaching 80% of what Neymar and Messi created within that squad a few years ago, that would be so great. And so if we can see Lewandowski continue to have that great setup game that he does bring on the field, set up Ansu Fati on the left flank, Ansu Fati can see a lot of goals. And when it comes to Ansu Fati's great layoffs with the ball and making those through passes to Lewandowski, he can also score a lot of goals. There are so many goals that can be made between these two players, and it should be very, very exciting to see. But now moving away from the topic of like these duos that we need to form, I want to talk about one specific player that we have not addressed yet, and that is going to be Bernardo Silva. Because if we talk about this player, right, we talk about a player that is very close in terms of the profile of Pedri, like the technique, the passing. I do think that if Bernardo were to enter this squad, he would really enjoy being very high up the pitch, because that is something that Xavi does like to do within the squad, right? Within his interiors, he likes to have his interiors sit extremely high between the left winger or the center forward, or maybe even the center forward and the right winger. Bernardo Silva would blossom in positions like that. But one very important thing that I want Xavi to do within these negotiations, if it does actually happen, if Bernardo becomes a Barcelona player next season, is for Xavi to say, look, I'm going to be having you take on the rotator role. And this is going to be something that Bernardo Silva is not going to be very used to, because in the Premier League under Pep Guardiola, he has had a total of 33 starts out of 35 games. And so if Xavi were to come in here and just say, hey, you're going to be taking on the rotator role, which means that you are going to be a substitute, but you are going to be entering these games as the minutes go by, that is going to be something that Bernardo is going to have to really think about, because this has to happen. Like this starting midfield that we are going to be having next season, these players that we are going to be having like Xavi and Pedri, like what we see here on the screen, they do need the minutes. They need to play all the minutes as much as they can to gain as much experience, so these two players can develop and maximize their full potential. Like I honestly think that if everything does go well, if they get managed well, if they get taught well, when it comes to Xavi and Pedri, these two players can easily be way better than Bernardo Silva. And I know that Xavi Hernandez is going to want to see that. But that's basically it when it comes to Bernardo Silva. I think that once he does come to this squad, he will be a monstrous sub. Or if Xavi or Pedri do get injured, fine, Silva could come in and replace either of those two players with no problem. Stats wise, Bernardo Silva can bring the goals and he can also bring the assist. But that is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona daily news. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.